Harlequin Desire, Cowgirls Don't Cry, Red Dirt Royalty by Silver James. Continue on. His face shone with tears, and his white knuckle grip on the steering wheel indicated how upset he was. She leaned over to the dog and placed her hand on his. "You're right, Uncle Boots. Oh, honey, the two of you so dang much alike, stubborn to the core. But he loved you, and he was proud of you." "No," she shook her head, unable to believe that. "No, he wasn't. I disappointed him. I didn't stay here to help with the ranch. I didn't get married and give him grandbabies. I didn't do anything with my life that he wanted me to do. All he ever wanted was for you to be happy, baby girl." Cass didn't know what to say. She knew in her heart Boot was wrong. She disappointed her dad from the day she turned 18, lost her virginity in the back of a pickup of the National Western Stock Show and Rodeo in the Denver, and then decided she'd never get on a horse again. The old truck rattled across a speed bump as Boots turned it into the parking lot at the funeral home. He pulled into a parking space and shoved the transmission into park. Neither of them moved. She did not want to get out and walk inside that building. With its whitewashed stucco and the blue shutters topped by a red-tilled roof, the place looked more like a Mexican restaurant than a funeral home. Part of her wanted to ask Boots just to drive away. The other part didn't know if she'd turn tail and ran and regret it for the rest of her life. Cass sucked in a deep breath and held it, letting the air hiss out slowly. She wiped her face and nose with the bandana, then stuck it in her pocket just in case. "Okay, let's get this over with." The doors of the old truck creaked as they opened. Buddy jumped out after Boots, and he scolded the dog. "Leave him be, Uncle Boots. He's just as much right to say goodbye to Daddy as anyone." She met him on the sidewalk and slipped her arm through his. "We can do this, right?" Boots patted her hand and where it rested on his forearm. "You know what your daddy always said, sugar." "Yeah, often and loudly." She inhaled deeply again. "Cowgirls don't cry. They just get back on and ride." "I really hate that phrase, you know." He chuckled and gave her hand another pat. Boots distracted the officious man who let them in at the door while Cassie snuck past, Buddy at her heels. They were probably breaking some law, but she didn't care. Buddy needed to say goodbye as much as she did. Alone in a private viewing room, a few minutes later, Cass stared at what used to be her father. A sheet covered his body from shoulders to toes. There'd be no burying clothes or makeup on his face, since he'd be cremated once she left. The funeral home had kept his body solely for her chance to say goodbye. His face had thinned over the years, his hair and the crinkles around his eyes looked like they had been etched in wax. This thing wasn't her father. He'd been full of life or laughter and a few choice cuss words. She reached out as if